Hey everybody, it's Cheryl Lawson and welcome back to the Cheryl Lawson Show. I am in high extreme setup and planning mode for the 2014 SMTULSA Social Business Conference that starts next Thursday here in wonderful Tulsa, Oklahoma in downtown. It's interesting. It seems like I start planning this as soon as the other one is over. I start planning the next one, and of course, about this time, I'm asking myself, why am I doing this? I'm never doing this again. And of course, once the bell goes off, I see how people really enjoy what we've put together and look forward to it again. And I understand that is the cycle that we all go through. So it really is kind of fun to put this together. And I have taken the advice of our friend and keynote speaker for the 4 years we've had this conference, Becky McCrae, and tried very hard to delegate and scale the conference. Because I think one of the things that becomes very difficult when you're planning is that for me at least, because I think if you listen back to a few Spreaker podcasts ago, I'm a bit of a control freak. I like to have control over things up to a point. I do understand that once the bell goes off, it is an organic piece. I like to have control over the pieces as long as I can, just so that when things fall, they fall into some sort of basket that everybody can live with. But it's interesting. I've really tried this time to scale, because you can't scale, well, I talked to Cheryl and Cheryl said, or you can't scale a number of people saying, here's what Cheryl and I worked out. You really have to have people on board that are that know what's going on and understand how to find answers other than yourself or myself. And so I'm really happy to have a bunch of folks helping. I've had people help every year, so I can't say this is the first year, but I think I'm getting smarter with what I'm asking people to help me with. And I think that's a lesson for all of us as business owners and marketers is, we want help, but it sometimes can be a little daunting to tell somebody what you need help with. I think that's where I was last year and a couple years ago, is that, I'm doing this kind of from what I envision in my head that this conference and this particular event will be. But so it was difficult to say, here's how I need help, because in the past, it was still the idea, and the conference itself was still creating and still becoming what it has become now and what it will become in the future. And I still like the creative aspect and the ability to be flexible and create something that I might not have thought of. So, but now at least I have folks that are able to help with the things that we've seen in the last 4 years. Hey, you always need somebody to do this. You always need somebody to do the other things. And then especially with the social media management, I've tried to do all of it myself, and I cannot believe I haven't asked more of the social media community to help me out. But the gang is doing a great job. You can see some of them on our Facebook page at facebook.com/socialmediatulsa. They're the cover photo. It's Danica, Stephanie, Roxanne, and Amanda are all on the page. They went and did a photo shoot at the park and of why they chose SMTULSA. So it looks like it was a fun event, and thanks to Daniel from Tulsa Imagery for taking those photos. And there's a few other people on the social media team that are making my life a lot easier leading up to the conference. And of course, there'll be more on the team during the conference. Sarah Hill, who was our Twittress, our Twitter person last year, will also be on the production team for social media Nicholas Norfolk, who I've worked with the Route 66 Marathon, and their bloggers forum is going to come to Tulsa and help us with a little bit of the social media and help us get the buzz out. Of course, Jeanette Biles, Wild Woman Media, is doing all of our video production and live streaming. She has gotten Webster High School to their TV production program is actually sending a couple of students to produce some content, do some interviews with speakers and people who are attending the conference for their course project. And I think that'll be kind of fun to see what they create, see what they get out of the conference, and see the conference from their eyes. But so I appreciate Jeanette for pulling those pieces together. And it's great that the two of the students are going to be working over their spring break. So how fantastic is that? So we'll make sure we show them a lot of SMTULSA gratitude. I also wanted to talk about how having event history and it is so beneficial, especially in the last minute. You know, about this time is, you know, I'm start freaking out about sponsors and, you know, how many people are registered and you know, all of the kind of last minute things that planners stress about. But it's interesting. I looked back in the Eventbrite from last year's conference, and I think we were off registrations about 4 people from the same time last year. So, and then, you know, 30 or some odd people registered in the last few days. So, I have to kind of manage making decisions. It makes that, you know, the last minute nature of people registering for events makes it harder to plan. Like, how many people are you going to feed? But I can make a good guesstimate, of course, using last year's orders and previous years. How many people did we order food for? How much coffee did we order? And those kind of things will help in planning and making the final decisions. Like, so we went ahead and ordered, I went ahead and ordered the t-shirts a couple weeks ago, based on history. And I will, give final food and beverage counts today based on history and just, and assumptions that history will repeat itself. And if it doesn't, then we'll have a new set of history to go off of. But I have a really good feeling that that's what's going to happen. So, and it'll look like to everybody else that that everything worked out the way it was supposed to. But I feel like the duck, you know, with the feet flapping under the water, but everything looks smooth on top. So, but that's how it really is supposed to look when you're planning any kind of event, or when you're doing anything. It should look flawless to the people on the outside, and I'm just grateful to have people supporting this effort. I think, you know, one of the things that I really aspire to do and provide is just to help other businesses and people who have an idea to make their business more successful or have their business succeed using these new tools of the social web and mobile. I'm so happy we're having 2 mobile sessions this year. Judd Wheeler, I think Mandy was the one who introduced me to Judd a few years ago, or at least asked me if I knew him. And so I knew his name was out there, but we'd never connected. So this year I'm going through LinkedIn and I'm like, hey, let me reach out to this guy, because we really need somebody to talk mobile marketing, mobile commerce. So I'm excited about having that piece. And that's another thing that, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but this is kind of therapy for me, and hopefully it will help you with if you're planning something and putting something together. Hopefully this will help you as well. But anyway, so we have the desire is to help businesses navigate through all of the noise and stuff that's going around, and get beyond being overwhelmed and get to a place where they can start making plans and saying, okay, I heard so-and-so speak at SMTULSA Conference, and they talked about Google Plus, or they talked about creating content and context of the content based on wherever the network is. And so I'm going to take that information and do these 3 things, or these 4 things, or this one thing. I know Becky McCrae is going to talk about what's the one thing you're going to take away from your experience at the conference. So hopefully that's the environment that this conference will create for people. It is going to be overwhelming, so I'm happy that we have enough people around that understand that these kinds of things can be overwhelming, and then be able to steer you as the attendee or each other into saying, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. These are the things I'm going to do when I walk away from the conference. So all of the stuff that leads up to it is nil. If, one person, 2 people, everybody walks away with at least one thing they're going to do to help their business going forward in the year. And I think that the bigger piece of that is if you have more people driven and more confident about using the tools, then they then in turn become more successful businesses, which then helps everybody in the community, and then they can set the example and inspire other people to do the things that they've done to make their business successful, right? So I mean, that's the end goal, right? It's not necessarily to have 5,000 people in one place in Tulsa. The end goal is to make sure that people are getting the best information in and up to date as up to date as we can make social. And I think the rate of change is still changing pretty quickly in this space, but there are some real set best practices, and I think we've put together a number of people who get that. And we're also talking about things other than social media, right? So personal branding, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are just trying to make sure that when somebody Googles your name, that you have the positive information that you want about you and your business. So anyway, sorry for rambling. I just needed to to chat a little bit. And somebody else just tweeted that they were following me on Spreaker. So that usually triggers me to come on here and rant and rave about whatever it is that I'm doing at the time. So I hope you enjoyed a few minutes of me ranting and rambling about SMTULSA Conference. I hope to see all of you on Thursday, March 20th and Friday the 21st. There's tons and tons of social things going on. So if you're not registering for the conference, we have 2 networking events. Thursday night at the what is it? Yeah, it is WXYZ bar at the A-Loft downtown. And then we're going to announce something really special sponsored by the Tulsa Food Guy and for Friday night. So that'll be open to the public as well. So get over to the meetup page, meetup.com/socialmediatulsa, or hang out with us on Facebook and see the announcements coming up. All right. Talk to you soon.